Good evening. Today I'd like to talk about an important subject. About 6 years ago, during the evening, I was taught during the night, and as I would go in and out of sleep, I was taught by a number of advanced beings that were called the Masters of the Sacred Teachings, the 12 Masters of the Sacred Teachings. And they would come to me at night and they would teach me many different things over several months. Some of these masters are like Jesus and Buddha, Enoch, Moses, and many others. Some I don't even know or remember the names right now, but it's in my notes. Got lots of notes I took during that time period. Now, some of these things they taught me, I didn't consciously always recall right away. And I didn't recall them until my inner voice would talk to me and tell me what they said, or my inner voice would tell me specifically what it was I needed to recall and remember and put it down in writing. And one of these things that I was taught by my inner voice and these other masters was what was called a spiritual regeneration diet. I was taught that if I was going to advance more spiritually, I needed to follow a certain specific diet. As this diet unfolded, it appeared that it was very similar in some ways to the Jewish way of eating in the Law of Moses. And I'll talk about that more specifically in a moment, what some of those specific things were. The diet said some things like, don't eat any animals that are poisonous or carnivorous. Don't eat any animals that are bigger than man. So in starting out, we would eat lamb, for example, because lamb was an animal that is actually the same size or smaller than man. Sometimes we'd eat kangaroo meat. But as time went on, we moved the meat out of our diet, but we did this gradually. We had chicken and fish, but even that eventually moved out of our diet until we moved more to a raw and vegetarian and fruitarian kind of a diet. So it was a gradual process over several years. And now beans is a mainstay of our diet with the protein it provides and the vegetables with those main meals. And generally we eat fruit in the morning from about the time we wake up till about 10 or 10:30 in the morning, so that we have proper elimination in our body and can cleanse ourselves, and then we have a main meal about 11:30 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And then at night we might have another meal. And those main meals of 12 o'clock or maybe 6 o'clock at night are generally bean or vegetable based, and sometimes cooked and sometimes raw. The spiritual diet gave us many advantages as far as cleaning us out. As I was starting this and had a lot of the information, my voice said to me one day while I was drinking a can of soda pop still, and I love this orange crushed soda pop, my voice said very clearly as I sat down at the table, it said, if you continue drinking that soda pop, you'll never build the cities of Zion. I didn't even know what the cities of Zion were, but I knew it sounded pretty important, and it sounded like part of my destiny. So I set that can of soda pop down, and I never drank soda pop again. And that was, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, what the spiritual regeneration diet was. There's a lot more on my Facebook page and my blog site that talks about the spiritual regeneration diet as well. If you want to know more about this diet and specifically what it entailed, go and look at the spiritual regeneration diet on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Messianic Mystery School, and there you'll find more information. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you the next day, probably tomorrow.